Quick, somebody call injury lawyers for you because I just got whiplash. Right, honestly guys, if you didn't find that funny, then there's nothing for you here, because as far as my videos go, that's as good as it gets. Here's the intro. Okay, before we get into this, I just need to say that the lighting on this shelf has changed. It's actually more of a cool white than a normal white. I'll show you what I mean. You can see that this is got a slightly bluish hint to it. And then down here, there's a slightly yellow hint. Blue, yellow, blue, yellow. Because these are normal white LEDs. And then I've gone and had to put in a new LED strip up here. And the fuckers sold me the wrong colour, so they're sort of a cool white rather than a normal white. But however, it's gonna have to do for the moment because this is where I film. I haven't got anywhere else to do this, so I'll have to try and find new LEDs online. But this will do for the moment. It will stop all the flickering that's been going on, and it won't just suddenly go dark like it did just before I started filming this. Literally, I pressed record and the bloody LED light just went completely black. It's the best of a bad situation, so hopefully that hasn't put you off too much. Some people might actually like it more with the cool white more than the normal white, but me personally, I just prefer the normal white to let the colours of the natural figures shine through rather than saturating them with an artificial colour like the cool white. But however. Okay, so obviously I didn't pick this figure up when it was first released. I think partly it was the price, but also at the same time, villains weren't my priority. I had a lot more figures on pre-order, I couldn't afford it, yada yada yada. It's the same old shtick. You know you really want to buy all of them, you can't afford all of them, so some have to slide, and then maybe chasing them down in the aftermarket. So this was one that came up on eBay, and it was a really good price. I mean, less than retail. I think I picked this up for $2.50 plus shipping. That's pounds, so that's not a really bad price, especially for such a chunk of a figure. It's a die cast mostly, and it's a slightly, I'd like to say, rarer one than a lot of the others. I don't think the villains were made to the same volume as the heroes, and definitely not to the same volume as Iron Man himself. I got a bargain. This is an absolutely stunning figure. Just standing on the shelf there, it looks impressive, but there's just a lot going on with it. To be honest, I know there was a lot of videos out there, you know, ripping it apart. I remember watching Denobi 2's, and he obviously had his gripes with the figure. But then, like he said, and we all say, even the worst Hot Toy is still one of the best figures on the market. So, as much as we all gripe and whinge about it, they're still pretty cool. When I first got him out of the box, he was a chunk. He weighs a lot. He feels very substantive in your hand, and that's really good. But the truth is, like a lot of us say, doesn't matter how much die cast they put in a figure. Truth is, you're never going to handle it that much. So it's about what it looks like on the shelf. And I can tell you now, this guy is imposing. There's so much detail in that armor. It is unbelievable. There's so many little panels. I mean, if you were to break this down into its smallest components, I bet you there is like 1,000 different pieces there, if not more, because there are so many tiny little bits to make this one big giant action figure. Okay, let's just get in and have a closer look at him. We can see all of that lovely sort of metallic chrome effects that go through this thing as they start to reflect. As I turn this around, we can see that all these details, God, look at that down here. Look at all of that. And they say you have to be careful with these because the pistons can move and they can be damaged if you keep moving it around. But look at the detail in here. Admittedly, I'm not a big fan of these. I think these are just a little bit too plastic fantastic, you know, with the rest of this being like all the legs, you can feel all the coldness in there from the metal. But then these bits here are very plasticky, and it's a bit of a shame, but you know, it is what it is. I think it helps with the keeping the weight down, and they look very fitting. Look at all these little dizzy details in here. Check out this sort of the whiplash sort of weaponry sort of rolls up inside here, and it comes all the way down. Now you've got to be careful with that, obviously, because when you're articulating, it's going to start pulling on this bit here. So as you're bending the arms and whatnot, you can see it pulls on that. So be very careful. It's not a big deal. You don't want to be pulling this guy around and making extreme poses with him anyway, because you want to show off that armor. So you don't want to be doing all these super dramatic poses for very long periods of time. Little bits of greasy oil wrapped around all these rivets. You can see all the detail going down here into the arm there. This really is one of those pieces that if you can afford this and you manage to find one at a fair price, it is well worth picking up. I know most people would prefer Whiplash in his original sort of exoskeleton suit that he uses on the race course, but this is so imposing, so impressive. And I'm quite impressed that Hot Toys went this far with it, just because he wasn't in the film long, was he? I mean, what was he in? When you saw this suit for what, 3 minutes tops? So it wasn't in there for very long, but they've actually gone and made this. And we definitely need more Marvel villains in our Hot Toys collection, because god damn it, Hot Toys, you do such a great job when you actually put your minds to it. You make these really, really sort of standout museum pieces. All these little cogs and all these pistons going in here. Shoulder pads lift up here, so then you can actually move this and articulate it more so it goes up. Obviously there's a spring in there, so be very careful over time. You don't want to damage that spring. So obviously treat this as a, you know, what it is, a high-end collectible, rather than a super fun action figure to stand there and pose and play with all the time. You can see that light up feature is really nice and bright. Then we come around the back, we can see these exhaust ports, I think they are. These light up as well. Now these Whiplash is supposed to light up as well. There is a button in here supposed to turn on. It's supposed to light up from here and run through this, but we all know that it doesn't light up. It sort of glows a little bit at the bottom here, and that's it. I don't really need to show you that because it's crap, to be honest. We all know that. That's why I'm not going to use it. You can see he's sort of giving him weld marks all across this face panel here. There's loads of welding pieces just around here. It's just all down here on the thighs. Like really rough. It looks jaggedy, and it looks like it's been welded together, which is exactly what you want it to look like. And you can see actually there's some light up feature just up here as well. I'm trying to show it just in the sides, and that's supposed to help make it look like his face lights up more. We can see that face sculpt is actually really nice. Let me just turn off this chest arc. I know some people have been saying that when they bought theirs, this little bit breaks off or pushes inwards. That's why I am super careful with it. I am not going to let that happen to mine. Bit fiddly. Here we go. You can see that face sculpt. He's really nice. He's got this sort of furrowed brow look. It looks really good. He's even got crow's feet around the eyes. It is very impressive. He's even got a few sweat beads running down the forehead. I think the moustache and the beard could have done a little bit more work, a little bit more graying if they really wanted to do that. Don't have to. It still looks really good. Now I know the whole helmet comes off in the film, and he's even got that sort of hair tied up. So I know a lot of people bought the original Whiplash and then swapped the head out for this one so that he could have a completely unmasked head sculpt. But the truth is, even that's not screen accurate, because he actually had his hair tied up at the end of the film. So this doesn't bother me that much. It is pretty cool. We can even see where he sort of got ideas from Tony Stark to design this, and they've even got these like side panels here that looks very much like an Iron Man helmet. And the helmet goes on top like that. Obviously that always shadows out the face though. You can always take it off if you really want to. And then put it on. It's magnetized, and it magnetizes very fast, very quick, and without much hassle. So easily, if you're showing this to someone, you can just go check this out. But, and it's on, and then go, yep, put it back. Done. No fuss, no problems, no messing around with little drop bits that you got to push down and fiddle with the face mask like a few of the Tony Stark figures. Straight away it goes on. I really like the way they've done that, and I actually like how they've actually magnetized this chest piece here, which feels very metal and die cast. And you can replace it with this plastic version, but it's like a plastic battle damage version. And it just snaps in place, nice and easy. no fuss. So it really helps when you're actually trying to swap this out and change it up a little bit. Makes it a lot easier. And then you have the light up eye face helmet piece here. And that again just snaps on and the eyes glow really nice. You can see all this sort of dirt and damage that he's done. There's about 3 different silvers all the way through this. It looks aged and dirty and industrial. This is a beautiful piece. Okay, taking a look at these legs, you can see the engineering that went into them. They've even got all these little pistons here that move up and down for when you're actually bending the leg. And he even has the foot clamps that help him clamp to the floor, but also pin people to the floor as well. And they are actually fully articulated. I love these. These are great. You can have them sticking out a little bit like that. You can have it pressing down on the diorama piece like this. You can just have them straight up. I reckon I'll probably just always have it straight up. But you know, if you fancy a bit of a change, you can always just open things up a little bit. All this lower calf area here is very cold, so you can tell that's all die cast. You can see in there, you can see all the details of the pistons in the foot. You pull this out to the side. You can see there's a piston at the back here, and when you're moving that up and down, they say be careful because this can pop out. That's fine, I can do that. And something I just quickly noticed was these little spikes here that sort of bend into the ground. They're spring mounted as well, which is a really nice detail. And let's be honest, who doesn't want a miniature Mickey Rourke sitting on their shelves? This was just a simple showcase video. I finally got this guy in the collection. I'm not going to review him, there's a billion reviews out there. So every so often, once I pick up a legacy figure, which is what I call figures that are old as arse and I didn't bother to pick up at the time when they were released, I like to show them off. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. If you can do me a favour now, if you get the fuck out of my cave. I have to find some more space to fit this on the shelves, and I also need to fix the light in here because it's bugging the hell out of me. Bye bye guys. I want my bird. My bird. My bird. I want my bird. I want my bird. Be honest with me. Every single one of you has tried that, surely.